It's time to ask the expert.
Yeah.
Get your questions answered today by a knowledgeable expert by calling 615-737-9292.
Hello?
Brought to you by Bancorp South. Visit us online at bancorpsouth.com. Equal housing lender.
All right, guys, we are here in the Zoom room with Hot Rod McCall, baby. That's right. Mm-hmm. Rod McCall, our friend.
Hey, guys, good morning. Good morning. Glad to be here again.
Good day to you. Now, Sissy Brown, tell him what he does there at Bancorp South, his title.
He's the area lending manager for most of Tennessee. Nashville is included in that.
Yep.
And it's also the mortgage community development lender for Bancorp South.
All right, guys, so we're going to talk home ownership and get you into this home because, like he said on our last podcast, 8 million people, 8 million are coming into home ownership in the next couple of years. That means you can be a part of that 8 million.
You get a house.
You better understand that.
Yeah,
you get a house.
You get a house. Dub, kick us off, man. Let's get a question.
I like the way you said that.
To lease to own, or is it better to outright buy your home, no matter what your credit situation?
Is it better to lease the home or to buy the home, whatever your credit situation is, no matter what?
Yeah. Hey, that's an excellent question. Thanks for posing that question. Here's what I tell people is that each process is a legal binding process. A lease to own is a process in which you can actually end up with home ownership and buying a home, as well as an outright purchase. So the first thing you have to do, number one, is look at your budget, look at your credit, and ask yourself, which one is a little bit easier for me and my family to move forward? If you're able to purchase now, and this is a home that you love, keep in mind, we're in a pandemic, 100-year pandemic, and we're seeing rates as the lowest they have been, I know, in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. I see programs that are more flexible than ever. And as I stated before on a different podcast, there's down payment assistance available right now for you to qualify. So so that's why it's important to get pre-qualified, then determine, hey, if I'm able to get pre-qualified, let me move forward with home ownership. If not, and if lease the option is a way for you to obtain your dream home, then absolutely look at the lease to option process. But keep in mind that is legal and binding. And the biggest thing is to make sure you have representation. And I still recommend a realtor, because when you do a lease to option, I've seen too many gotcha moments where people were not enter into a lease with an option to buy, and unfortunately didn't really understand some of the requirements in that lease to option, and it didn't end up in a good manner for them. So again, look at purchasing, but a lease to option is another viable option that you may want to consider if you know all the ins and outs about that lease with an option to buy.
All right. So, I want to talk a little bit about down payment assistance and down payments. What are some alternate sources of down payment?
Man, I'm glad you say that, because we always are looking at, if you are able to qualify, when we do a pre-qualification, we always are looking at ways to get you into the home with the least amount of money out of pocket and the most attractive payment possible. So we're looking at, if there's money through the state of Tennessee, guess what? We're going to look at and see if you qualify for that, and actually show you how, if you do qualify, how that loan will be structured and what your payment is going to be with the down payment assistance through the state of Tennessee. If the bank is offering down payment assistance, and we have a program called the HELP program, where you can actually qualify up to $10,000 for down payment closing costs. If you're able to qualify for that, we will help you with making the application for that. And do you know that in some cases there's a combination that you can qualify for both? So there's a story I like to share real quickly, where a person qualified for $10,000, also qualified for another $20,000, for a total of $30,000. They were able to put that money down, and a person who couldn't qualify for the house ended up qualifying because we was able to find down payment assistance. So absolutely, there's many sources of down payment, and Bancorp South is committed to, if there's a way to get you the funds, we would definitely help you with the application for down payment to make it more affordable for you in that home.
All right. Sissy?
So there's sources for it. Now, does my income make a difference on how much that down payment's going to be?
Yeah, well, not so much of the down payment. The down payment assistance, some programs do have income requirements for that, and we walk you through that process. But no, when it comes to just purchasing a home, many customers now look at the program with the least amount of money out of pocket. We have a right-at-home product that allows you to get 100% financing for as little investment of just $500 until the deal. You can actually close on that home. Because that program is 100% financing and your investment into it to close is only $500, doesn't mean we still won't look at down payment assistance, because we want that home to be affordable for you, if more affordable for you, if you're able to qualify. So again, no, there are minimum requirements for certain programs. So if your credit meets those requirements, yes, we can move forward and get you in there with a 100% financing program. But if not, we can look at down payment assistance program that can help you with money out of pocket, because again, it can bridge that gap of you putting that money into it yourself. So we're looking at all those options when we do the pre-qualification.
Oh man, a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff to learn. A lot of good information here, guys. You better take advantage of it. Dub, let's get another question.
Can you refinance your home if you have a THDA loan?
And first of all, what is a THDA loan?
Yeah, that is remember I said earlier, money through the state of Tennessee.
Right.
Just keep in mind, most states are in the business of helping people become home owners. So in a lot of cases, they offer down payment assistance and our second mortgages to actually offset and allow you to put that money down so that you can become a homeowner, right?
Right.
But here's what happens is some of these programs have what is called a recapture clause. And what that means is, because the state is in the business of helping people become homeowners so that you can have a viable, great neighborhood, what they don't want is investors stating that, hey, they're going to make the home their primary home, then all of a sudden 6 months later sell it and make it rental property, right?
Right.
So what they do is they put a recapture clause in there that says after 5 years, all that grant money that we gave you is forgivable. But if you sell it within the first year, you may have to pay back a portion of that money. And the reason why that clause is in there to prevent investors from going in, getting the money, buying the property as their primary, and then within 6 months or a year, then they're selling it, and then they make it, or they'll lease it and make it rental or et cetera. So again, the state is about making viable and great neighborhoods, not about giving out free money for people can get a home and then turn the neighborhood into investment property.
Good, and put that in there. So you were talking about grants a little bit, or TDHA. What kind of grants are available out there for just regular people like myself?
Yeah. Well, obviously, that's one of them through the state. And again, we look at the income limits and see if you qualify. There's the HELP program, where basically you can get up to $10,000. There's also, we look at a lot of cities and counties who may have grant money as well. So we have basically a website as lenders that we can basically plug in what city that you're in or want to buy a house, and it will tell us what programs are available in that particular area. And guess what? Then we can start looking at the guidelines, see if you qualify, and perhaps, guess what? You can get that money and make that home more affordable. So again, there's so many different programs, and this is not just in your local city or county. This is throughout the entire United States where we have that list information.
So so they can just basically reach out to you and the guys at Bancorp South, and you can run through the different types.
Absolutely. We can run through the different types of down payment assistance available throughout the area where they're looking at, see if they qualify, and then we will help them through the process of the application so that, again, if they are able to be approved, we can apply that money towards the loan and make that home more affordable for them once they're in there with a low, hopefully, monthly payment. So absolutely.
Sissy Brown.
So as far as the down payment goes, let's say the down payment is $10,000 and I have $7,000, can I get a house?
Yeah, so great question.
No.
But see, remember I said earlier, assets is just one part of it, just like credit is just one part of it. It's the overall profile. So what you do when you make application or when you're being pre-qualified, my job as a loan officer is to take that application and tell your financial story. So remember I said earlier that there's typically 3 types of mortgages: FHA, VA, and conventional, and each one of them have guidelines particular to that particular type of mortgage. So my job is to take the application, tell their story through income, debt, credit, and asset. And if you meet the requirements for that particular program, then yes, an underwriter could review your information and determine that your loan can be approved. So it's not just the asset that matters, it's the credit, it's the debt. So there's a lot of factors that goes into loan approval. But what we can do as loan officers, help you navigate the process and hopefully find your product that is flexible enough for you to qualify right now.
All right, we got to get another
and
question.
That's what we're trying to do with Bancorp South.
Another question real quick.
How soon after buying a house can you start purchasing things again that might affect your credit?
Hey, I hear that a lot. What I don't want you to do is buy before you close. So let me tell you that story, because too often I've seen folks get excited. They go out and start purchasing furniture for their new home because they feel like, hey, credit-wise, I'm in great shape, got great income. But guess what? Your loan is not closed until it closes. So don't go out and buy the furniture. Don't go out and buy the car. If there are issues or emergencies that come up and you have to increase your debt, then make sure you talk to your loan officer first, because I've seen horror stories where someone may not qualify all of a sudden because they had a debt. So again, make sure you do that. But once you close, then you're free to charge up. You go back to whatever you were doing on your credit.
So what about cash? If you go out and you pay cash for it, does that make a difference?
Yeah, because you don't need me.
No, I'm saying if you pay cash, like if I go get furniture, if I go get a refrigerator and I'll do all that and I pay cash, does that affect my closing?
Yeah, what it can do is affect what money you have available to close. Remember when I stated is that credit is just one part of it? Let's say your credit is marginal, and when you made an application, you had not only enough to close, but you had a surplus of funds or a huge rainy day fund. When we looked at the funds that you had available to close, when your loan was reviewed by an underwriter, that underwriter perhaps could have approved your loan because not only did you have money for closing, but you had a large rainy day fund left that would be available after closing. So for that reason, your loan was approved. So what I tell folks all the time is that, again, if you're going to make large purchases, still reach out to your lender, even if you're going to pay cash, because again, we may have to update your bank statement. You started off with 10,000, but now all of a sudden you was told during the process that you probably need 4, so you went and spent 6. But what you may not have realized is that your loan was approved by an underwriter simply because when she looked at the $10,000 and did the analysis, the fact that you had a large rainy day fund, once you close on that loan, made a difference in loan approval. And that's why it's so important that you speak to your lender before you make large purchases, regardless of if you're trying to finance it or if you pay cash, because you want to know all the detail. And is there anything that could have a negative impact on you closing on your home?
All right, guys. You've been hearing my man, Rod McCall, with our friends over at Bancorp South. Now, listen, for more information, you can find out about local home loan experts and what have you. Visit bancorpsouth.com/myhome. That's Bancorp, BANCORP, South, SOUTH.com.
And also, Rod likes to talk to people personally.
Yes, he does.
If you want to contact Rod personally, give us your number, Rod, so they can talk to you.
That's right.
Absolutely. My cell is 205-835-3966. Again, the number is 205-835-3966. Or you can reach me at rod.mccall@bxs.com. That's Rod, ROD.MCCALL @B as in boy, X as in X-ray, S as in Sam.com, guys.
All right. On our next Ask the Expert, we will begin our in-depth look at 5 keys to home ownership. Thank you, Mr. McCall, for being here in the Zoom room with 92Q.
Thanks, guys. Enjoying it. Have a great one.